Last week, Brad, 8 bets, 6 winners. Your best bet again, mate.
Can't hit the best bet.
You can't hit the best bet. And you were doing so well early games. Vikings, first half, -2.5. You had also the Pats Dolphins over 46.5, got there in the end. And also great show, Seahawks money line. And the defense from Seattle did what you said it would do to the Cardinals offense. But yeah, the late one again. And you just had the Saquon show and the Jalen Hurts pass completion. I think he only completed 15 passes to begin with. They didn't need it because Saquon was just running up and down the field. You're just getting very bad luck on those, man.
I don't know about. Where were we? We're 13 of the last 16 over the last 2 weeks. That's not bad anyway, is it?
We're finally catching up with it. We're catching up.
Not hitting the fucking best bets, but yeah, we're doing all right.
I'll tell you quickly on my one. Tyrone Tracy over 9.5 receiving yards. Fumbled, I think, in the start of the third quarter, I believe, if I remember right. And Dayball does this whole, this old school NFL coach thing where, he fumbled, so you have to bench the guy, all this kind of bullshit, right? Even though the team's absolutely rubbish. And I just given up on the bet, and I saw the very last series. The one of those last series where they're just like either running out the clock, dump off. You got 2 or 3 dump offs, and I was absolutely haunted. So you see, it can go both ways, mate. You just get lucky with some, you don't get lucky with others. All right, we're recording a small bit early this week. This is my fault. I have something on this weekend, and also next week we're recording on Saturday. That is my fault. Don't blame Brad. But so we're early this week and a bit later next week. But we will move on to week 13. Unlucky for some and all that. I've got a player prop to begin with. First of all, in the Chargers and Falcons game. Pretty even market all week. Chargers slightly holding favoritism here, 1 point favorite, and 47.5 is the total. And I think Lab McConkey, like his line right, is probably up 20 in probably 20 yards in probably the space of 4 weeks, but probably for good reason. The line here is 70 plus receiving yards of 1.9, and what he's done to the defense in the last couple of weeks that he's gone up against Cincinnati and Baltimore, I think the Falcons defense are very similar to both these defenses, and the fact that J.K. Dobbins is injured, you've got Gus Edwards coming in. I'm not going to say that the Chargers are going to give up in the run game, but they have definitely expanded the passing game in the last couple of weeks, and this guy is unbelievably reliable for Justin Herbert, the routes he runs, versus the likes of Quentin Johnson, who obviously dropped 3 balls on Monday night as well, and Will Dissly, also very much a capable guy catching the ball out from the tight end position. A bit of an injury out there, so quick one to begin with. Lad McConkey, it is a big enough number, but this Falcons secondary can't really cover anyone. So 70 plus receiving yards, and I think his reception line is going to be probably 5.5, 6.5. Wouldn't turn anyone off that either, because Justin Herbert does look for him generally on his first read. Bradley, first game we want to talk about from your side of things, mate. The Titans at the Commanders. Titans getting 5.5 here, just under even money at matchbook.com. 44.5 is the total. Brad, we chatted off air a couple of weeks ago. Titans defense is pretty decent, and the Washington offense just kind of, I don't know. It's kind of got me worried a bit.
Where should we start? Let's start with the Washington offense since week 10, so including that week, so the last 3 weeks. We have Washington, they're 25th or worst in pretty much every key offensive metric: drop back, EPA, success rate, explosive play rate. Everything is bad. Now, is it Jaden Daniels? Did he have a rib injury? Maybe, though he ran for 70 plus yards last week, so he's looking healthier. Is it Cliff Kingsbury getting figured out because he's doesn't really do much? He just puts the X receiver over there, Terry McLaurin over that side, these 2 people over here, and he just runs his stuff.
Happened in Arizona.
It happened in Arizona every single
season. Every single year.
Yeah. And again, I listen to a lot of these film analysts, and they saying the same thing, that once defenses have adapted, Cliff doesn't adjust back. He's got his fastball, and doesn't have a pitch off it. And then they're not very talented. I was always, before the season, I've faded Washington season wins. I faded them a few times earlier in the year because the offensive line isn't good. The receivers outside of McLaurin, it's Noah Brown and Zach Ertz. They're not good. And now the quarterback is maybe less mobile than he was because of an injury, or maybe less willing to take a hit. And now they're not performing well. And our Titans defense, well, they're top 10 in DVOA. They've always been like top 7 by success rate. So they're pretty good. Now, how do I want to best take advantage of this, of Washington being overrated? One is our Titans in the first half. The Titans script weirdly good. They're top 5 in first quarter success rate. And since I've been monitoring this, every single Titans first quarter, they score points. It's bizarre. So it could be first quarter. It could be Titans first half, as we've got here. I think that's a good look. Or the last option, which I've also bet, is Washington under 24.5 or under 23.5 as well. So under 23.5 is 2.25 on Matchbook currently, which is
2.2. Just got nibbled. You might have backed it yourself, man.
That was mean. That'd be mean nibbling. So yeah, again, it's what we're saying. This is like a bottom 10 offense in the last 3 weeks going up against the top 10 defense. The concern would be that Tennessee just won as a big dog and Washington just lost as a big favorite. But I did look into like some of the trends of what happens when those two meet in the middle, and it was fairly neutral against the spread. So I'm not too worried about that. And yeah, I just think this is being priced off the full season metrics, and that's not really who this Washington team is currently.
I'm on mute, mate. I'm on mute, mate. Yeah. That happens every now and again. First time this season, maybe second. 24.5 is obviously a key number for the unders, but you do have to pay a bit for it. Like it's 192, but you're happy enough with 23.5, yeah, for the under.
I mean, they're the same according to Sportcast's maths. So it depends how aggressive you want to get, or if you want to try and bet it twice and get double stake on.
All right, yeah, that's fair enough. Fully agree with you here. I mean, even if you look at the Dallas defense last week, up until that mad fourth quarter, they hold them to like 9 points till about 6 minutes, and it just got a bit funky at the end, obviously.
I checked that earlier. With 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, it was 10-9 Dallas. So
there you go.
They didn't do it. And you take out McLaurin's, I think it was 87 yards, and Jaden Daniels is under 200 yards passing against the Dallas defense, which I think is improving, but still mid-pack at best, and has been stomped all season. So pretty concerning that they can't really move the ball against them as well.
That's fair. Player prop I like in Seattle and New York Jets. Before I get to that, the betting here, Seattle on the road are 183 or 5-6 in all terms. Jets getting 2 points. We think Aaron Rodgers is still playing. He's still there. He hasn't been cut. So he probably would have been by now. 42.5 is the total, slightly favoring the under. We've touched on this guy a few weeks with the Seattle offense seeming to get a bit more vertical. Jackson, Smith, and Jigba, his line is 52.5, and you can back it at 1.9 currently. And he's on the tear of all tears at the moment. He's been the Seahawks leading receiver in 4 straight games, and that's 367 yards over his last 3 games. Actually, like I think it's a franchise history. It's probably one of the most they've ever had. I said it previously that Ryan Grubb, their new offensive coordinator, was using him a lot in the short stuff and bubble screens, but they are letting him get vertical just like he did at Ohio State. And if anyone watched Ohio State, this guy's an absolute beast of a player, and he's starting to look like that kind of player. You mentioned previously Tyler Lockett doesn't seem to be a factor anymore, but I think Njigba's getting nearly as much looks as DK at the moment, and that's quite telling. And his line probably hasn't caught up to a DK line. Generally speaking, you would probably avoid the Jets secondary when backing wide receivers going up against them, but I think they're not playing great this year. I'd imagine DJ Reed will pick them up, or Sauce might go on DK. They play a hell of a lot of man coverage, and Jackson Smith and Jigba excels against man coverage. So this line to me is probably about 10 too short. I checked the weather as well. Again, conscious that we're a few days out. It's just cold in New York on Sunday afternoon over there. No major wind that I can see. So yeah, give me all the JSN over 52.5. I think the Seahawks potentially roll in this one. Any thoughts in this game, Matt?
No, I want to back the Seahawks defense again, given what they've just done the last couple of weeks since the bye, and what we talked about last week with like new linebackers, the defensive line healthy, the corners playing like maniacs. But I don't know if it's under 41.5. Could be that, given how like slowly the Jets play and get against Rodgers that way, or whether it's just Seattle -2, -1.5, whatever it is. We're a little bit earlier, and as I was saying a couple of weeks back, I'm trying to just wait till game day, basically get more info on injuries and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that later in the show too, because I'm going to hold off on the bet builder this week till maybe Sunday, because there's a hell of a lot more markets. We're recording this on Thanksgiving Thursday, and I noticed in the first game today, there's just way more markets even in the bet builder closest, so there might be a few options there. 2 other 3 legs came up again last week, just one short nearly every week. Speaking of Matchbook, exceptionally better NFL product in comparison to what these guys had last year. They have the bet builder, but also that you can bet the singles. And also, Brad, those markets we talked about, those longest pass completions, I didn't realize they actually do have them. Yeah, they actually do have them. So that's one we can be kind of looking at Sundays, especially. Again, those markets won't be out on a Thursday for a Sunday game. But obviously, as we're recording now, they'll be out for the Dallas game tonight and Miami and Green Bay and whatnot. So yeah, if you want to get involved with these guys at Matchbook, check them out. And you can use the pod 50, pod 50, the sign up offer, bet 50, get 50. You can check out terms and conditions on that on the promotions tab at matchbook.com. The Bucs at the Panthers, and all of a sudden, Brad, last 2 weeks, Bryce Young looks like a functioning NFL quarterback. It's mad stuff, but we had him written off, man. He was out the door. They were essentially, I don't think they were going to trade him. They had a couple of offers from different teams, but they aren't going to trade him. But yeah, he's some of the throws last week that he was making against Kansas City, no joke. They're 6-point dogs at home. Bucs 6-point favorites last week as well. They're coming off that big win in New York on the road again, 46.5. Your angle is a first half over, mate, over 23, 1.87.
Yes, so I think we have 2 nice things going for this bet. One is this Bucs offense, which it's been strong all year, and just again we go with our first quarter success rate, and they are 3rd in the NFL behind only Detroit and Minnesota. So I think we can count on them scoring in the first half. And then, so as you said, Bryce Young, best ever performance last week by EPA. Again, it seemed the film men were loving it as well, like making throws under pressure, which he's never ever done his entire career.
Tight windows, real tight windows, some real tight windows,
and that's the other angle, basically. We spoke a little bit about the Bucs defense last week, and what do they hold Tommy DeVito to 6 points. And
so what?
Yeah, exactly. The Giants had fully quit. DeVito's not an NFL quarterback.
No.
I think we can write that off. So I think Bryce Young should have some success as well. So yeah, like the bet.
Dave Canales, he did it with Baker last year too. Just giving a bit of time here, and something maybe cooking there. Is this is a tricky spot for the Bucs laying 6, right?
I wouldn't lay 6 with them. Again, we spoke about it last week.
We do like them.
I said to you, like, I would only side with the Bucs, but I would side with the Panthers at 6 because they're playing. But even the defense last week, 5 sacks against Mahomes. Very hard to sack, and they're a lot healthier as well. Like DJ Wanham is playing their clownies in there when he missed time, so they're healthier on the defensive side as well. But yeah, I like the Bucs script. I don't think they'll get stopped there.
I like the Bucs, so I really like this offense under Lynn Cohen this year, taking over from Dave Canales, and we've touched on a good few occasions here. But the angle I was touching goal. So I had Bucky Irving last week over 55.5 yards, and again, through the fact broke a few tackles actually on a reception as well. I think there was like a 36 yard reception at one stage. But the target share in terms of the passing game was well up for him. It was you'd be Rashad White out of the backfield. His line here is 15.5 receiving yards. He was on the field for 55% of the snaps versus White, who got a bit, probably got, I think he got about 40%. Then they put in Sean White as well. But his receiving line of 15.5 is a couple shorter than Rashad White. And I think that's wrong. I think this guy's on the field more. They're using him in the passing game. And he has that ability, as we said last week, to break the tackle. And 15.5 for me is too low. And also with the Bucs, even in a potentially negative game script for a passing game, if they're ahead, they keep throwing the ball in it. So it's just the way this offense is built that, you have Mike Evans on the outside, you have a bit of Cade Otton, but you actually haven't got much else, Brad. So that's why the running backs are getting targeted, because they have bloody no receivers outside of Mike Evans and potentially Cade Otton.
Yep. Like it.
All right. Let's touch on the game of the weekend for me, and I think you'd agree here. The Eagles and at the Ravens. Eagles getting 1.9 matchbook, a high total of 50.5. I have a player prop angle there, but just tell me about the angle. Does the market seem right to you in this one?
I will probably be on the Eagles +3. I don't have great stats. I just watched both games on Sunday and Monday night because I'm on Mexico time currently. So nice. Can actually watch these night games. And the Eagles look just like the best team in the NFL to me. Like they just were doing whatever they wanted all game. I think the offenses are similar. Obviously the reason the Ravens are favoured by this match is I think they're getting credit for maybe the best offense in the NFL. But I don't think there's much between them. Like the way that Barkley can just pick up 6 yards of carry and then go for 50 whenever he wants, you have to commit, and then nobody can stop AJ Brown. So I don't think there's that much different. Then the Eagles' defense is clearly like a top 3, top 5 unit at worst, and the Ravens are not that at all. So I don't know. I just think there should be 2, maybe. Getting the full 3, I think the Eagles are the better team. I think they're more rounded, very solid. And again, I think you look at the season-long stats where the Eagles, they were like the defense was betting in with Vic Fangio. They were missing both receivers for games early in the season, and I think that's why it's 3. But if you just looked at say the last 6 weeks, I think the Eagles are the better team. Have you muted yourself again?
Twice in a row, man. It's bad form, man. I hope it's not an omen for a bad week of punting, mate. I think this is an AJ Brown type game. I'm not going to say that the Ravens are going to totally bottle up Saquon, because I don't think anyone could do that to one, but that is their strength in this defense. Look, again, we've gone against the Ravens secondary in many a week this year and have had plenty of success because of it. AJ Brown, anytime touchdown score and 90 plus receiving yards at 3.4. I think Devontae Smith is probably a no-go here. And I think you're going to get plenty of AJ Brown here. It's going to be, they're going to have to get that way to move the ball. I'm not going to say that they're going to completely shut down the Eagles rushing offense, because you have the option play obviously with Hurts as well that could do damage to the Ravens defense. But it's an AJ Brown Claxton kind of game for me. Anytime TD and 90 plus receiving yards on the bet builder at matchbook.com. That isn't the bet builder of the week, but we'll get to that on Sunday night. Anything else you want to touch on? Just before we go, actually, I the reason I actually had the mute on, I was half watching on the screen here the Sky Sports coverage of the Lions and Bears, and I looked up for a second. I saw Jason Bell and Paul Merson. So you're in Mexico, you don't realize this, but Paul Merson is on, and they were doing a kind of a Dancing with the Stars kind of skit, and I'm like, sweet fucking mother of God! I honestly would watch adverts than have to watch this. I suppose that's the good thing about Red Zone. We just miss it every week, that you don't have to. And every now and again, you might actually have to turn on Sky Sports so much.
Yeah, I don't know how Neil Reynolds has that job as well. Like they got to be someone more fucking charismatic than Neil Reynolds.
Mate, I think that the worst thing, we'll finish almost here, we'll do a recap and best bets, but the worst thing about it is the audience in the UK now is way more educated than it was 10, 15 years ago. They don't need to dumb down bullshit and to just capture, like ITV do with the racing, trying to capture this new audience bullshit. It's I don't know.
Just interviewing some random celebrity like, do you like NFL?
Games. I love NFL.
Yeah,
I went to a game before. I saw love Tom Brady, love Patriots, all that bullshit. All right, let's do a bet recap, get best bets, second half starting there. So I'm liking Lad McConkey, the slot receiver for the Chargers, 70 plus receiving yards, 1.9. In the Titans and the Commanders, Brad's backing Titans plus 3.5 in the first half, 185. And Commanders team total under 23.5 at 2.2. Please God, Brad, you just had a pro that Will Levis doesn't throw pick six. So he will throw an interception, but it just needs to be further down the field and someone needs to tackle.
Sorry,
you go for it, go on.
I was going to say he's saying in press conferences this week he's not going to take sacks because he took 8 last week.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that just means more interceptions instead because he's just chucking the ball without looking at.
He's the ultimate trend. He's actually doing okay, but it's just some of the bad stuff is really bad. In the Seahawks Jets game, JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba over 52.5 receiving yards, 1.9. Really like that one. Brad likes the Bucs Panthers first half over 23 at 1.87. Same game, I like Bucky Irving's receiving line of 15.5 at 186. And in the game of the week, the Ravens at home to the Eagles, AJ Brown anytime TD and 90 plus receiving yards at 3.4. Brad, what is your best bet? And it's going to come this week, mate. Like, you've been doing so well, but like, have a real good think about this one now.
Let's go with Will Levis, shall we? Let's rumble with Will Levis in the first half, plus 3.5, Titans plus 3.5 against Jaden Daniels and his old pal Cliff Kingsbury.
And hopefully the pick sixes, if the one does come, it comes in the second half and doesn't beat your best bet, man. JSN for me, Jackson Smith and Jigba. Give me all that. I'm going to play him up the ladder, potentially about 75. I don't think the Jets secondary as good as it used to be. All right, guys, thanks for your attention this week. And please leave us a favorite review if you're listening to us on your preferred podcast app. Until next week and next Saturday, goodbye for now.